Patriots fans, take a breath. Big things are bubbling in Foxborough. Quiet moves, bold decisions, and signals that could reshuffle the roster hierarchy are simmering right now. A veteran under the microscope, a contract with an opening, a young player pounding on the door, and a familiar name that could reignite an old tactical fit. And in the middle of it all, a behind-the-scenes read that might flip the season's switch. No spoilers, every piece carries weight, and the order matters. What would you do if you had to choose today? You won't believe what we've got. So sit down, hit like, and let's get started. When preseason rips the makeup off the league, a few pricey names get exposed, and that's where opportunities pop for teams that see value where others see wear and tear. In Houston, a veteran who once supercharged Mike Vrabel's pass rush could suddenly become a chess piece in Foxborough. Autry, 35, with 62 career sacks, delivered a monster 2023 11.5 sacks under Vrabel and Terrell Williams in Tennessee. In 2024, he dipped to 3. Yet, is that the end of the line, or just a context issue waiting for the right staff to fire up the engine again? Hold that thought, because this isn't just about stats, it's about tactics, culture, and money. Autry reworked his deal with the Texans, and a release would save them roughly $4.5 million. Add depth to the equation. He's on PUP, sitting behind Will Anderson Jr. and Darrell Taylor. And we'll just at you and aware, with Fister Ridzoch, core down, in a league that accelerates decisions on cutdown day, everything can flip in an instant. Here's where New England connects the dots. Vrabel knows Autry in detail, how to use his length to set the edge, how to slide him to 5 tech or 4-eye, and even kick him inside on obvious passing downs to generate pressure with stunts next to an explosive defensive tackle. Sound familiar? Picture Autry absorbing attention while a young power rusher feasts on one-on-ones on the opposite side. Now exhale, where does he fit on this roster? Think first and second downs when you want to choke off the run and win with physicality before unleashing the pass rush. Autry was that exact edge setter in Tennessee, holding the point, funneling runs inside, letting linebackers shoot gaps clean. On a roster searching for a run defense identity, a veteran who understands leverage, angles, and heavy hands could shorten the defense's path back to feared status. And there's more. On third down, Autry becomes a chess piece. He reduces inside, attacks gaps, wins on guards with bull rush and long arm, and opens lanes for delayed pressures. He doesn't need to be a 17-game headliner. He needs to be the piece that wins 3rd and 7 in December when everything weighs more. Of course, there are risks. Age, knee, the decline curve. Nobody ignores that. But the ceiling? An impactful stopgap who changes the front rotation and buys time for younger players to refine technique without carrying 60 snaps a game. And the fan reaction? Split down the middle, half hyped for a Vrabel-Autry reunion, half cautious because of PUP. Comments are on fire. If the price is right, take the swing. Do you agree? The cut-down clock is ticking, and this still isn't the wildest part of the day. The 14-player cut wave in Foxborough hit like an earthquake, not just for the size of the list, but for the emotional punch of a few names that carried real expectations. It's always tough to see dreams paused, but the ruthless sprint to 53 tells you exactly what's in Mike Vrabel's head. 3 cuts stood out: quarterback Ben Wooldridge, corner Isaiah Bolden, and guard Saidi Sow. Wooldridge arrived with a decorated resume, the reigning Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Year, a guy used to winning, used to leading. In 3 preseason games, he flashed 269 yards and 2 touchdowns, but also showed raw edges with an interception and a completion rate below the mark. The staff's message seems clear. Joshua Dobbs holds the backup role behind Drake May right now, and even with fans pulling for the underdog, Wooldridge is likely ticketed for the practice squad. For a team pushing all its chips behind May, the message is direct. Experience matters more than raw upside in this moment. Now Bolden, a 7th rounder in 2023 who lost his rookie year to injury, came back, logged 14 games, and contributed on special teams. Hopes were he'd fight to the last minute for a spot. The growth just didn't match the need. Vrabel and company wanted reliable depth, and although Bolden's a likable figure, he couldn't lock down a seat. For many fans, this one stung. It represents that tantalizing what if the franchise couldn't carry through a rebuild. And the toughest blow, Saidi Sow, a 4th-round pick who started 13 games as a rookie, consistent and disciplined. He was viewed as a solid piece, a guard who didn't beat himself. But in the NFL, being clean isn't enough. You have to be dominant. Sow didn't show a clear step forward in 2024, and on a line already bruised by instability, the staff chose to turn the page. Cutting a player who felt ready says the coaches either see better alternatives or want to retool the physical and technical profile of the room. The bar is higher. For the fan base, it's a mix of frustration and hope. Frustration for losing names that felt like part of the future. Hope because cutting decisively signals conviction in who stays. Every departure is an affirmation of philosophy, discipline, immediate impact, and tactical trust. What's left? The expectation that the final 53 will be tighter and more identity-driven. And keep your seatbelt on. Friday's cuts might only have been the prologue. Down the stretch of preseason, while attention leaned toward big names and high-stakes decisions, one player quietly stole some air in the room: Javon Baker. The second-year wideout stepped into the finale against the Giants with the pressure of a player who knows a single snap can decide his fate. And what he showed wasn't just talent, it was resilience. Despite 2 drops that frustrated fans and opened the floodgates for criticism, Baker answered differently. He popped on special teams. That's where he stamped his mark, detonating a block that triggered a fumble and flipped the energy of a drive. That moment might have been the pivot for his roster case. Here's the rival, raid. It's not enough to be a receiver, you've got to be versatile. For a young player who flashed speed, route strength, and athletic profile at UCF, the crash course as gunner and on kickoff is the survival class of NFL life. Frival highlighted the effort, the growth in non-natural roles, and hinted the staff values players who refuse to be one-dimensional. That opens a lane for Baker to stick where many rookies fail, embracing the dirty work. The fan base is split. One group sees the drops and wonders if he can be trusted by May in critical moments. The other group sees raw tools and a willingness to contribute anywhere as a sign of future payoff. In forums and timelines, the vibe is don't give up on this kid, with plenty of reminders of players who started as special teams grinders and later became core pieces on offense. The strategic impact is huge. If Baker makes the 53, New England gains real depth at a position that's taken lumps in recent years. More importantly, it creates a development runway without the burn of WR1 expectations, pressure that has swallowed other young guys here. He can learn, grow, and build confidence while delivering value in the less glamorous but game-swinging third phase. In the end, Baker embodies the league's eternal dilemma: raw talent versus consistency. Rival didn't give away the answer, and maybe he doesn't need to yet. The message is different. If you change the game in multiple phases, you've got a future. For a team trying to forge a new identity, that might be as valuable as any highlight grab. And if that already twists your nerves, what's next might shake them even more. While preseason spotlights were fixed on rookies and bubble vets, one name muscled back into the center of the conversation: Kyle Duggar. The 29-year-old safety, once a captain and a defensive anchor, kept showing up late into games, sharing the field with roster bubble players. For a lot of fans, that looked like a demotion. Then came the turn against the Giants. Duggar picked off Jameis Winston in the end zone, broke up multiple passes, and racked up 6 tackles. The message landed. Those writing him off jumped the gun. Rival didn't hold back with the credit. He pointed to a committed rehab after surgery, visible physical improvement, and how he looked lighter on tape. That matters. And a coach who leans on straight talk goes public with praise. It signals genuine respect. Duggar's performance reignited a real debate. Are we witnessing a last-minute pivot for a team hunting for a defensive identity? A versatile safety who can cover, hit, and quarterback the communication is gold. Still, the situation is delicate. Duggar has trailed Jabril Peppers, Jalen Hawkins, and even rookie Craig Woodson in recent rotations, and raw snaps that hints at a reduced role. But is that the truth, or just the staff stress-testing depth while giving Duggar room to find rhythm? The fans are polarized. Some see a vet nearing the end, others see a leader ready to pop precisely when people doubt him. Strategically, the question isn't just who starts, it's about secondary flexibility. In today's hybrid world, safeties who can play the slot, match tight ends, or drop into the box are premium. Duggar has shown he can be that joker. The real question is durability. Can his body hold 17 games at that level? And don't ignore the emotional factor. Duggar didn't complain about snaps or take shots at the staff. He went humble. I've got a lot to improve. That posture, paired with on-field impact, builds a redemption arc, and fans love that story. With every interception, confidence rises. With every tackle, doubt shrinks. He may have started preseason as a bubble player, but he ended it reminding everyone there's gas left in the tank. So here's the dilemma. Is Duggar depth in 2025 or ready to reclaim a starring role? The answer might be closer than it looks. Because if this mini comeback already jolts the fan base, imagine when the regular season hits. Take a breath, Patriots Nation. The board just shifted. The possibility of Autry becoming a heavy-handed rotational piece under Rabel reignites the front. The cuts exposed hard priorities, with Dobbs locking down the number 2 and the O-line bar rising. Baker bought oxygen by embracing special teams, creating a path to develop without being rushed. And Duggar reminded everyone he can still steer a versatile secondary when the game tightens. Simple question: which move would you make today? Drop your take, keep it respectful, and get in the mix. Smash like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We'll be back tomorrow with more.